Hello and welcome to session 14 of Abandon Hope, the show where we draw deer and occasionally fight gargoyles and stuff. We are not at the moment joined by Stephanie, though she will be ideally with us in 10 to 15 minutes. Can anyone give me a recap of our last session for the sake of Aiden?
I don't remember if Aiden was here 2 weeks ago to see the deer attack Ivor, or attempt to, but that was where we started the session, was with the deer charging down Ivor. Ivor skedaddled up the ladder, and everyone, because no one else saw a deer down there. And then a little bit later, the old woman came back up with a block of ice, complained about us not helping her. And then a bunch of other things happened where we were investigating around the house and didn't find too much interesting other than some weird art on the floor downstairs, and of course the previously mentioned ice blocks with humans and other animals in them. Eventually, the deer woman left, and something tried to pull her husband down into the basement, and we saved him, and he burned down the house, trying to warn us of the situation. So there's something in the basement that's spooky, and now we're in pursuit of late deer woman. I think that's everything that happened.
Yes. Slash went off to investigate the woman, and then he came back missing a ghost leg.
Right.
That's where we left off. So, Slash, you were just kind of sitting around the house watching this woman and your party making soup out of, was it a spider frog, I think. And that went on for a while, and then the woman just kind of trailed off into town, said she was going to get some spices or something, I don't remember. She gave some dumb excuse that was clearly dumb to all involved. And she went off, and you went and followed her. And you followed her as she kind of lazily walked between the buildings. As she got out of sight of the party, she kind of bent over, and she seemed like something was hurting her leg. She was kind of limping. The skin of her leg was kind of all wrinkly and hanging off the bone. She like kind of pulled up the hem of her skirt to adjust the flesh underneath. It was kind of hanging off the toes a little bit, and you thought that was a little nasty. And she kept on going. She went to the middle of town, and she talked with a dude who was handing out tomatoes, and she told him that there was going to be a special barbecue tonight, and asked him if there were any more visitors from out of town who could attend. And he said no. And at that point, she left him, and she vaguely wandered to the chapel in the middle of the town. That was part of the old architecture you guys had come to the conclusion of before the current settlers got there. And before she went into the chapel, she turned around and looked directly at you. And then she popped in, and you were not able to follow her through. You stood around for a few minutes and were wondering if you should head back or not, at which point the woman burst out with a priest-looking boy who pointed a staff at you and blasted your leg off, at which point you turned around and were magically feared away. And as you left, you saw a glimpse inside the chapel of a fleshless, or not a fleshy, skinless deer standing there on its hind legs, staring at you with a big old dumb smile on its face. At which point you went back to the boys and said, "Hey, I think we have a problem," as you were missing a leg. And George, you can tell Steph that she better be sorry.
Will do.
And so yeah, that's where we stand.
All right. So I guess every time I miss a session, my character's getting punishment.
Not so much punishment as I can inflict whatever I want on him with no lasting repercussions because he's dead already, and that's fun for me to do. But I'm less inclined to do that if somebody's here.
That's true. And since he's a spirit, though, would he have even felt it or even noticed?
He didn't feel any pain. No, his leg just kind of went flying ghostly off into the sunset. It did not prevent him from running. So... Yeah, he is. Nothing that you've tried to do so far was hindered in any way.
Okay.
So having experienced all that, you are face to face with the smoldering remains of a house and the rest of your party. What do you do?
The rest of the party's there, not hurt?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm not going to say the whole story, but I guess I tell them the story of how I lost my leg and what I saw. The second skinless deer.
So,
yes. Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. I was just gonna make a joke, anyways.
I
don't think Slash saw the first one. Would he
I
have?
thought I was there. I was there when we ended with them. I don't know if I was in that building, but I ended with the session where they were getting attacked by the deer, and that's when he ended off. I remember that. I don't know
yes.
if or not.
You were outside at the time.
Yeah, Ivor was the only one downstairs with the deer. I was at the top of the ladder, but I didn't see the deer.
Oh, okay. So he wouldn't have known that. So he would have been, I guess, really surprised when he saw the second deer. So this would have been the first one for him. I gotcha.
Understandable.
So basically, he comes over here explaining that he saw this thing and the exact thing that they've seen, and that he knew he couldn't trust that old lady.
The man on the ground is clearly not aware that Slash is there. So if any of you are paying attention to the Slash, he is looking at you in mild confusion as you are fixated upon the nothingness. Are we going to go find her then?
I suppose that would be the best course of action, yes.
He once again tries to pull himself to his feet, but of course his legs are all slashed up from whatever was in the basement. And he falls back down. With a big old oof.
He falls into the basement?
No, he just falls down as he tries to stand up.
Gotcha. I was gonna say, I thought the house burned down on top of it. Okay, good.
He rolled a 1 on his don't fall down the basement roll.
Gotcha, okay. I will try to help him up.
Okay. With your support, he slowly is pulled back up, but he cannot support his own weight at the moment. Even of course, after you healing hands to him, the wounds are closed, but he's clearly still in a lot of pain. There's still a lot of damage to his legs.
Is this the same old man that I met when we first saw the old lady?
Yes, he was the woman's husband.
Okay. So what happened to the house guys when I was gone?
This gentleman was being dragged down into the basement, and he was calling out for us to help him, but we were not able to hear him through the walls, and so he cast a firebolt in order to light the house on fire to let us know something was wrong. And we dashed in, pulled him out, and then the house collapsed. It was all quite exciting.
What was attacking him?
I'm not entirely sure. It was dark down there, and I didn't get a good look past him. He just said something was attacking him.
Would that happen to you?
Drag him down deeper.
Would that happen to be a scary-looking skinless deer?
I forget if we've asked him these questions already.
If his wife was a deer, he seemed to, or claimed to, have no knowledge of anything you were talking about regarding the pattern or the strangeness of the basement in general.
Sorry, I meant, does he remember what the thing that was dragging him down into the basement, what it looked like, or any other?
No, he, I think he said it was just shadows moving in the basement.
Gotcha. So you didn't get a good look at it either?
No, he gave you no usable description.
Gotcha.
He is now looking at you perplexed. Who are you talking to?
An imaginary friend.
I suppose that's not the weirdest thing that has been going on today. Is your imaginary friend magical? Are you a wizard? Is it your familiar?
You could say that, yes. Not a wizard, but I do know a little bit of magic, yes. I take it you are a wizard, though, by the spells you used, at your knowledge of familiars.
Oh, my granddaddy was one. He taught me a little bit. Oh, those were the days. You know, I was gonna be a treasure hunter a long time ago. And then I got the kidney diseases, and yeah, that was the end of that.
I see. As it is unfortunate. Would you like one of us to help carry you along, or a shoulder to lean on as we travel, or would you prefer to stay here at your home? Well, what is left of it?
If you could keep on helping me along, I would be very obliged.
Very well. I will do so. And I'll just, brace his arm with my shoulder, try and give him a little bit of support.
All right. You're able to give him some support. So, what's the plan of action, good party?
Actually, before we go...
Yes.
Are any of us here any good at medicine? I figure I have stopped the bleeding. I'm not particularly proficient, but I have some rope. We could probably salvage some wood from here, make a splint, give his leg some more support. If any of you think that would be worthwhile. As I said, I'm not good at, bones and things, but hoping one of you is a little better.
If someone would like to give it a go, and they are proficient in medicine,
Is Worm any good at medicine?
Worm has been standing stock still, staring at nothing for a good 10 minutes now.
Damn it, Worm.
Sounds about right.
Worm is not proficient in medicine. It is, however, one of his best skills.
I was gonna say probably better than Evor's -1 though.
Right.
So
Evor's
aware of how bad he is of it.
You try to get Worm's attention. That's true. No matter.
Worm, can you splint, please? Yes, something. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever tried to do this before, says Worm, but I'll give it a shot.
What could go wrong?
He grabs some spare supplies. He says, "Now hold still," and then he gives it a go.
Can I hold the man down to give Worm advantage?
Do you have proficiency in medicine?
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Unfortunately,
just gonna make him hold still forcibly.
It seems a little bit of circulation may be being is potentially now cut off. And Worm did not kill the man.
Well, that's probably the best.
It's a success
we
all
could have hoped
around.
for. Yeah.
No, this would be
We'll
so
take
much
it.
easier if the guy was dead. You could just let him sit somewhere for a while and he'd heal. I mean, I guess that's how living things work too, but it takes a lot longer.
I mean, I haven't seen any evidence against that.
That's true.
Exactly. Does that help your standing up? I will still support you, obviously. I'm just trying to make sure you're as comfortable as possible.
So, I can't really feel my legs anymore. I suppose that's an improvement.
I suppose so. Okay.
He is now able to waddle better on his own. He effectively has stilts.
All right. Perfect. All right. Any other business in this area before we move on? I'll ask the party.
No.
All right. Away we go. I feel like with me supporting this man, it is probably not best if I take the lead. But I have spotted some footprints we could follow. I'll point those out to whoever would be willing to follow them. Okay,
The
I
party looks at
suppose
each
I
other
will take...
uncomfortably. Sorry.
Well, I guess since nobody else is offering, Wendell will take the point.
Okay.
The tracks have already been found, so there is no need of a survival check. You can follow them as they go into town. And, I mean, Mr. Slash also followed her into a building, so there's also that. Or rather, he followed her to a building. Which the tracks lead toward as he was following the path that they were made while leaving. You approach the middle of town. The evening is getting dimmer. I don't know if any of you remember what the seasons were like, but if you did, you might be aware that the season is the tail end of summer, passing into fall. The sun is setting earlier and earlier every evening. And, it's getting dim. Torches are being lit and stuck on little tiki torch poles, I suppose, around the village. Some adults, still wearing their bright garb, are holding small torches. None of the children are given any. That's probably a good idea. People are still gorging themselves on food, but the general festive atmosphere has lessened. It's congealed. It's calmer. People are side-eyeing you more than they did before, which is to say they're noticing you more. Your clothes do not shine brightly in the torchlight as theirs do. You slink in the shadows by comparison. A band of children huddles in the shade of a particularly crumbly, mangy hut. Huts can be mangy. Staring at you with their little beady eyes. Maybe they're still resentful that no presents were given.
Yeah, were we going to go hunt down the fat kid?
Yeah. You could do that too. He's right there. Hello, Stephanie.
Hello.
You have arrived.
Hello.
I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I'm sorry.
I hope you caught a nose pass. You would deserve that.
Harsh.
That's harsh.
It is, though. Can someone give a brief summary of the session to so far?
Worm actually tried to be helpful.
Ooh.
and failed.
Oh.
Yeah, I was kind of getting concerned there for a second.
What are these little pictures?
Don't worry about it.
Slash found there are 2 deer thingies, and yeah, so we're in pursuit.
Dear
Also told us the story of how he lost his leg, and we asked the man if he could see what was attacking him in the basement, and he said he could not. And you attempted to patch up the man's leg so he could walk better, and we think you cut off the circulation to his legs, which at least he can't feel them now. So
He's not going to bleed to death.
He wasn't going to before either.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Ivor managed to stop the bleeding at least, and then you stopped it further.
Now his
Excellent.
his heart isn't even internally bleeding in the way a heart is supposed to be, in the extent that it passes into his legs. I don't have a great grasp of biology, I'm sorry.
I never ever would have guessed. So why are we headed into town right now then?
We are chasing the deer old lady and the other deer.
Yes, according to
Not the dear old lady, the old lady that is a deer.
I definitely
It's
meant
getting
that.
confusing.
Slash said that he followed the woman to the chapel in the middle of the town, which was part of the old architecture of the town. That he wasn't able to get through the door. There was some kind of a magical ward on it. And that after she went in, shortly after, a priest came out and blasted his leg off with some kind of magic staff. And behind the priest, there was one of the deer people. Just kind of squatting.
Slash's leg off?
Yes.
His ghost leg.
Yes. That is
Okay.
correct. He felt
So
no
he could see
pain,
him.
and he is not hindered at all by the leg being blown off. But yes, well, either he saw him, or he just ran outside and fired wildly into the night, and just so happened to hit Slash. Either thing is possible, I suppose. It's like a cowboy firing off his guns into the air, but it's a priest with a staff. Maybe, I don't know. In any event, you're hot on the trail. And Worm specifically has been staring vaguely into the distance until his attention was grabbed and he was forced to offer his medicinal services. Now he is
Sounds right.
Now he is potentially, just kind of waddling along as the man is waddling along. The children stare at you with their beady eyes once again. One of them licks its lips hungrily. You assume it's hungrily. They look like hungry children.
Oh.
They might be hungry for life, full of youthful vigor and stuff, or they might just be hungry.
Somebody should give them something.
A dark shape flies overhead. It is billowy. It is sinewy. It has several limbs. It vanishes a moment later.
How close was it?
Yeah, maybe a mile up. A big ol' thing, but a mile up.
Are we the only people that notice it? Do we notice it?
Well, you notice it. Who knows if the people notice it, but you notice it. No one reacts to it, I should say. A person holding a torch, wearing festive clothing, and carrying a tray full of spiced meats approaches. Hello again, strangers. Will you have a bite? Don't worry if you've missed the festivities. We'll be going on strong for the next 2 days. Plenty to see and do. I noticed you weren't here for the blessing of the well earlier. We usually like to have strangers around when that happens. You get wishes, if you're... Well, everyone gets one, but, everyone around here has used their wish a long time ago, so it's always fun to see the strangers make their wishes. I suppose you'll have to wait till next year, but you should certainly come by then.
You will keep this in mind. Yes, thank you. 1 year from now, yes, or 1 year from today, yesterday.
Oh, I don't remember how days and nights work as far as the dates go, but 1 year from yesterday, I suppose the day that, yes, I suppose it's the day that the bone collector comes. Yes. So just be by when he's by some of the other villages and follow him over to here.
I see. Oh, thank you.
He awkwardly stands there with his meats and waddles away. There's a lot of waddling going on. Everybody's had quite a lot to eat. It's just the most comfortable method of perambulation.
Do we know what this bone collector is? I don't recall.
I
hearing
believe we heard of the bone collector from, unless it was the corpse collector, I'm remembering, from either the old lady or her husband talking about why they kept humans in the basement, because they needed to be preserved until retrieved. But I don't remember if that was corpse or bone collector.
I think they did say corpse collector. It might be a sub-regional dialect. It may be a sub-regional dialect. It may be two completely different people. I may have a bad memory.
So we may not technically know yet then.
Perhaps.
So there's a guy that runs around once a year and collects all the bodies from all the towns.
Or this is a different person who is a bone collector and collects bones.
He collects the bones left over from the corpses.
If the corpse collector... Wait, so the corpse collector collects the people without the bones?
Or he debones them and leaves the bones behind.
That's a really gross job.
This is reminding me of the conversation we had. Excuse me, Discord. The conversation we had in yesterday's session that reminded me of Taylor, where imagine if, like ghosts possessing you, a skeleton could possess you by just jumping inside your body.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was a very Taylor campaign thing.
Yes, Stephanie was telling me about that.
But I did.
It was beautiful.
Somebody suggested to him.
I had to make sure that knowledge was passed along.
Well, I am very grateful. Well, the man walks away, but the children remain. You do not see the shape overhead again. There's a...
Do the children look expectant of gifts?
Not so much expectant of gifts as disgruntled.
The same kids as the jerk kid from the last time?
The other kids may be different, but you certainly recognize him. He's all meaty, he ain't got no hair. He's got, I don't know, let's say he's got a nose ring. You definitely recognize that. The torchlight glints off it.
We should give him something. I give him my bone club.
Do you approach him?
I take a few steps that direction.
How many people have you tried to give the bone club?
A couple.
You keep asking people to join the bone club, but nobody wants to. So you take a couple steps. Yeah, you just gotta find the bone collector and ask him to take your bone club.
Yeah,
you take
but that won't be till next year.
That's true. Unless he's still here, he just hasn't left yet. You take a few steps toward the kid, and he swaggers a few steps toward you.
Hold the club out to him.
It's not supposed to be for me, he says. A little too late for that, ain't it?
No.
He laughs. I'm gonna see you burn. You have dishonored me in front of my friends and my family. My father laughed at me. He said I was pathetic.
I'm just gonna walk away while he's talking. Put the bone club back in my pockets.
This is the backstory for the next BBEG.
He screams incoherently as you further disrespect him by putting away the bone club and walking away. He turns and runs into the middle of the children, knocking one of them over, who begins crying, and disappears into the shadows.
Gonna be like a secret boss later on.
He's gonna be a super villain.
Depends on if he survives.
Children never survive.
Well, because you kill them.
Well,
mostly because Aaron kills them. But you in general. Sorry, I just spilled my drink. I hope I didn't destroy my computer. Am I still audible?
You are
No.
indeed.
Yes.
Huzzah. I gotta stop having food and drink in my general vicinity at any time, for any reason.
You need sustenance.
You gotta just photosynthesize.
Indeed. Just one moment, please.
Draw your energy from the fifth dimension.
So we were following the dear woman toward a church.
I believe that's where Slash was leading us, yeah, or what Slash mentioned.
Do we know how close we are to said church?
I think we were kind of close. I mean, it was in town, right? We were on our way to it. That's why we were going into town. I think we're pretty close. Not sure, though. Guess we'll hear when Taylor gets back.
Does anybody but Jordan possess the power of speech?
What is happening
Nope.
there?
I can barely hear you.
I'm trying to fix it.
Yeah, for some reason, very soft.
Yeah, we actually turned up all the way.
Yeah, I had to turn her up all the way too.
Yeah, this headset sucks.
At least you got one, though.
Yeah, I guess.
It's not as quiet as Taylor was the last time, though.
I am returned.
You're very quiet, too, Aiden.
I posted the diet in Discord for you. Just gotta survive on air alone. It's fine. If you can't, the water name.
I appreciate. This is a powerful strategy I must apply to my own life.
I like how there's actually a Snopes fact check on it. It's great.
Alright, that fix it.
Between eating air
That is better.
and recharging my phone in the microwave, I have truly unlocked all of the greatest life hacks.
Good job.
Did you say mine was quiet too?
Your
It
volume
was, but it's not now.
Your volume is about the same as everyone else's for me. I don't have anyone individually adjusted.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think I ever changed anything, so it should be the same theoretically.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're fine.
I just have Chris turned all the way up.
Yeah, that's what I did. I just turned Chris to the max volume.
Yeah, sorry, this headset's kind of wonky.
Unfortunate.
I didn't think to grab my own.
So, one of the other children from the bunch approaches you. Her eyes are very wide. She also doesn't have much hair. She may bear some family resemblance to the one who was approaching you. She says, "What's life like on the outside? I've always wanted to get out of this place, but we're not allowed to leave."
Is this a little girl or an 85-year-old man?
This is Ann Child.
Okay.
She says,
As you can tell.
"Would you take me as an apprentice if I were to leave with you tomorrow?"
Yes.
She seems happy about this. She continues standing there. She says nothing more. Oh yeah. She pulls a knife out of a little pouch that she's wearing, and she tries to hand it to you, Mr. Worm.
Why?
It's polite to take presents, you know. When services are rendered, you give a gift in exchange.
I try to trade her the bone club.
She takes the bone club and looks confused. What do you want me to do?
Now you have a bone club.
But what do you want me to do? Do you want me to club somebody with it?
Not yet.
Okay, just let me know when.
Okay. Cool, we have a pet. So as I rejoin the group, does she follow?
Yes.
Excellent.
Holding the bone club, kind of thwacking it against the heel of her palm, thoughtfully. Well, you have a new party member.
That was a good trade. One bone club for one intern and a knife.
One intern who possesses the bone club.
Yes.
So really, we didn't lose anything.
No, and if she dies, I'm up one knife.
So that's what's referred to as an investment.
Best trade deal in the history of trade deals, maybe ever.
Potentially so. You venture further into the town, and you approach the chapel. It is a crumbly building. There are, in a circle around the building, circular pieces of granite embedded in the ground. They protrude out of the ground, maybe a half of an inch. And each of them has a very faded sigil on it. Each one has a different sigil. They form a wide ring. The stones themselves are about, I don't know, about the diameter of Slash's fist. I guess he's a ghost, so he doesn't have fists to measure. About the size of Worm's fist. You canonically have similar size hands now.
Well, I mean, okay.
The door to the chapel is closed. The door is of a newer construction, clearly, than the rest of the building. The door is a solid wood thing. There is a knocker, a very suspiciously familiar-looking knocker on the outside of it. There is no latch on the outside, and no handle.
The building's not crumbly enough that we can see inside it or anything.
Correct.
Okay.
It's just kind of crumbly. There's a layer of crumbliness on the outside, I suppose. Perhaps it has been repaired over the years.
With Slash being non-corporeal, who's going to open our doors for us?
That's a very good question. Slash can possess something and then fall over, maybe.
Maybe he can possess the door and just open himself.
That's a big brain moment if I've ever heard one.
I don't think... Can you possess inanimate objects?
He can possess a sword at the very least.
Slash, go try to open that door.
Slash knows from experience he cannot approach the door. On account of the sigils in the ground.
Oh.
Can I take a look at the sigils and see if I understand anything about them?
Alright. Can you give me investigation first? You poke and prod at the sigils. There is certainly something arcane about them. They resonate at your slightest magically infused touch. They are made of the same stone as the chapel and the other old buildings in the town. They seem to have been buried here a long time. the earth around them has not been recently disturbed. It does seem that the earth around them has been kept and cared for, so that they don't just kind of end up buried or half uncovered by the winds.
Do they look familiar to Wendelorn at all?
Anyone who has proficiency in Arcana can give me an Arcana roll.
Can I check them out with a religion check?
Yes, if you're proficient in it.
Apple. Oh, wow.
Well, Worm thinks they're outside a church. That makes sense. They must be churchy. They must be religious in nature. Yes. Mr. Wendelorn. You have... You have taken down runes from a... I guess you took a rubbing from a part of the what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very simple word. The lower floor. That's not the word I was looking for. That's where we're gonna go with the depths of hope. Floor? The part of hope where the gargoyles and the dude inside the rock were. You did not decipher these runes, but you did make a rubbing of them. So you are confident in believing that there is a connection between them. Unless it's some very basic language that you just happen to not know, that like everyone throughout history has used. But it's probably not, you think? Vesper takes a look at these and says, well, they're clearly magical, but isn't able to come to any more specific conclusion. And Ivor, you kind of prise around one of these and give it a little bit of a yank, and it will come up with a tremendous amount of effort, at least an inch above the level that it was sunken down. There's probably a large body of the stone for each of these things underneath the ground.
Can I take out, or well, first I'll see what the party thinks about these stones, but also take out a vial of acid and say, should I try dripping some acid on them, see if I can make them lose their potency from ruining the sigils? Or do you have some other ideas?
I'm going to explain to them that they remind me of ones that we saw down below Hope there.
Generally not good, practice to destroy things around a church.
I was not aware of this. I have never seen a church before.
So Slash is prevented from crossing this line of stones?
Correct.
Could he cross the line of stones if he were to possess something?
Well, that's for him to try and you to find out.
I would suggest that to him.
Slash, what do you think of the idea of possessing a thing to try to cross the barrier?
Like, there's going to be a bug.
So, does this have, like, the same kind of barrier that house had? So I know I can't...
It does feel equally tingly to you.
Okay. Then, well, it's not going to hurt. I might as well try and possess someone, see if I can go in.
There are many people around for you to try. There are many
What if I try to possess one of you guys?
Not it.
I mean, if you must, I can... Might as well try. What's the worst that could happen?
Are we supposed to answer that?
No.
All right.
Okay.
So I need you to give me a straight charisma roll, Mr. Slash, and I need you to give me a charisma saving throw, Mr. Ivor. And
Can
yes,
I
I
choose
understand
to
that
do?
is a willing thing that you are allowing him to do.
So I can not choose to fail it?
You cannot
Or
choose
may
to
I?
fail it.
Okay.
So Slash jumps into your body, and suddenly you are in uh, a featureless stone room with these strange blue lights surrounding you, and there is a big, meaty, towering Slash with one leg standing over you. And you pull out a chair to offer it to him, and he sits down on it, and as he does, the chair creaks, and you feel every fiber of your being burn in pain. You mentally push against this, and within a few moments, the pain goes away. And you are now even smaller compared to the Slash. You're like the size of a pinworm, if he was the size of a person. But you are still there. You are still alive, I suppose, if you can call it being alive. In the world of the living, one of Ivor's legs suddenly loses all of its strength, and the body containing Ivor and Slash falls to the ground. Slash, you are now controlling Ivor's body.
Well, that's an interesting side effect.
Okay, I tried to hobble back up and hop on one leg.
Alright. Can Ivor please give me an acrobatics roll?
I'll go and offer like a shoulder.
Especially with the help of the shoulder, Slash Vor is able
Wait,
to rise. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Until this moment, Ivor was offering a shoulder to the wounded man.
Oh.
What happened there?
He's been standing on his splint stilts. He is.
Oh, okay. So when Ivor collapsed, he just. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, he's been.
I was hoping he would have done blink too.
Yes, a falling wall of tormented flesh.
Dominoes. Anyways.
Anywho.
So if you were to possess like an insect, would it lose the use of one of its legs or 3 of them?
That's a good question. I have no answer for you at this time. Well, Slash Vor is up. What would you like to do, Slash?
Well, I suppose now I can try and go through the door.
All right.
Are we calling him Slash 4 now?
Well, Slash 4 is the both of you collectively.
Slash Bursk.
Yes. Slash Bursk.
First, I'm just gonna touch it, see if it, draws me back or anything.
It
So
tingles.
he's able to cross the line of stones?
If he touches the line, it tingles, but to nowhere near the extent that it tingled before.
Okay.
A
then
thin wisp of smoke rises from your hand, but a very thin one.
And I will try and cross.
All right, can you give me a Constitution saving throw, please, Mr. Ivor? And can Slash please give me a Charisma saving throw? So Ivor Slash confidently crosses the barrier, and the entire surface of your body erupts in burning smoke.
Oh.
Okay.
Erupts in smoke, not in flame.
No, it's quite nicer than erupting in flames, actually. It's still very painful as the surface of your body is carbonized and thrown to the wind, but it's...
Who is it painful for? Is it painful for me or for Ivor?
Well, you feel the pain, but Ivor's the one who has the body. So it's actually not at all painful for Ivor's soul.
Am I still like in the stone room as a worm?
You are, yes. You may appear
So
as
I
a
just-
worm if you wish, or as an Ivor, but you're the size of a worm.
Can I be a worm with an Ivor head?
You may indeed. I would prefer that.
Perfect.
Ivor's body takes 7 fire damage.
I'll,
And he is... Yes.
so he's showing like visible signs of distress at this.
I would imagine so.
Well, then I'll pull him back over the line.
Okay. You pull him back
Definitely
over.
see smoke. Even if it's smell burning flesh a little bit, I imagine.
So, yes. He received a chemical dermabrasion through magic, and Slash was able to hold on to his hold on Ivor's body. In the stone chamber, a fireball comes out of nowhere and smashes Slash in the side of the head, almost knocking him out of the chair, but he keeps his hold of the chair. That is a beautiful worm. There are multiple worms in the party now. What do you do?
Well, do you want to continue, or do you want to leave Ivor's body?
Well, first of all, where did that fireball come from?
It came from just out of the blue, the darkness of the sky in the stone chamber. Which was, you're pretty sure was a roof a moment ago, but now it's the darkness of the sky. And it just kind of smacked you in the side of the head.
So it's in his mind, we didn't see any of that.
Correct.
Okay, well, I'm past the stones and the barriers, so theoretically I should be alright if I leave.
You were pulled back by Worm.
Yeah, you were kind of burning.
Unless you would try, if you would like to try to resist that, then you are free to.
I gotcha. No, I gotcha. I didn't realize that. Okay.
Resist with Ivor's strength. Good luck.
Well, I don't know. I guess I'll have to leave his body now. Because there's no point.
Alright.
Can I leave freely without any...
Yeah, you can leave freely. You just kind of jump out of the body.
Ivor, enjoy your Esker crispy body.
Ivor, the chair smells crispy, but you may sit in the chair again. If you do, you suddenly snap to.
Okay, I do not think this was a good idea. Worm, you may have been correct. I admit it. Oh. Does anyone have a drink? I don't even know if this body can get drunk, but I could use a drink right now. That was not pleasant.
The old man pulls a flask out of his tunic and hands it to you.
Oh, thank you. Now,
What was all of that? He says. I've never seen anybody do whatever that was. Are you a demon? Are you a demon wizard? Because I suppose I can live with that.
Not a demon, not a wizard. Somewhere in the middle, I suppose.
Tax collector.
More or less, yes. Do I feel the effects of the drink at all?
You take a swig of something that is very spicy and very alcoholic, and you do feel a floaty drunkenness setting upon you, upon a body that has not had any alcohol in thousands of years, hundreds, however long you've been down there this time around. Can you make me a Constitution saving throw, please?
I can, and I have, according to this, advantage against being poisoned. Would that count here?
Absolutely. You easily hold on to your bearings and your dexterity and your alacrity of thought.
Oh, good to know that still works. So yes, not a demon, but well, I can't really even tell you I understand just exactly what happened there. But shall I try the acid on the stones now? Or do we have other ideas?
What are we hoping to accomplish with the acid on the stones?
I am hoping that if we disfigure the sigils, they will lose their power and hopefully break this barrier. Or whatever this is.
Everybody give me perception rolls, please.
Did it twice, just ignore that.
Is okay. Can I get... Yeah, there you go. Everyone except for Ivor notices a figure in a flapping set of robes appear on the roof of the chapel, and the robes are flapping because of the wind, I suppose. He's got a big old beard, he's got a little crown, he's got a big old staff in his hands. Crown? Yeah, he's got it. It's like a crown, I suppose. He points the staff at Ivor, and he lets loose a blast of energy from the staff.
Is there any way to try to push him out of the way before it hits? I was pretty perceptive.
You were pretty perceptive, but that's gonna be a no from me, dog. And the bolt easily misses Ivor.
I would have pushed him.
Do I notice this?
It does not hit the old man either. You notice once the bolt hits the ground, it leaves a smell of sulfur there. The figure does not speak.
Eldritch Blast.
Oh my.
All right.
You try to attack.
Can I get an attack roll, please? You miss. He either drops to his belly or disappears through however he came out. But one way or another, he disappears from sight.
Do any of you recognize this fellow? I will say to Worm's new minion and the old man.
The old man says, "Yeah, that's the priest. I've never seen him attack anybody before." And the child says, "Oh, he's not a very nice man. He's he's supposed to do a lot of work around the place. It's what the old priest did. He was always going around burying bodies. He was always blessing the food and blessing the waters. He was always giving out presents to people, but it's no one who just kind of sits inside and takes everything everyone gives him. Doesn't really do much. That's what my papa says. And then Mama says he shouldn't complain about giving things to the priest on account of he keeps us safe. Papa didn't care." She spits.
I like her ever-evolving accent.
What's that?
I like her ever-evolving accent.
Slash, that is the guy who blew your leg off. The man what took your leg.
Yeah, guys, I know who he is. Remember I told you about the guy who blew off my leg? That's him. I didn't realize he was a priest.
Well, I suppose I am very glad that he missed me, son. I would very much like to keep my legs.
Yeah, and I think your legs are still physical, so it'll probably be a lot more painful.
Either of you know the way to the roof?
"I didn't know you could get on the roof," says the girl. And the man just shrugs.
Okay, so at this point, are there any objections to me using this acid on these stones? I don't know if we have any other plans at the moment.
The man looks down at the stones doubtfully. I suppose to some extent I should be objecting at you suggesting destroying a heritage, but...
But
Worm, why did we want to get on the roof?
Well, I don't know. Somebody just shot us from up there. I thought maybe we wouldn't just continue about our business debating over the stones. But, I mean...
I'm beginning to wonder if I even live here at all, to be perfectly honest.
yes, Slash, you said his wife went in this church. And there was another deer here?
That is what you said.
Well, I don't know if that was his wife or not, but the old lady was there. Yeah.
I splash an acid vial onto the stones.
I object to this action.
Do you physically object to it, or you just grunt and fold your arms?
It's probably likely that if you physically object, Eivor could not resist.
And you may end up with a hole of acid through you.
I'm not gonna mess with a man with a vial of acid, but I did tell him not to.
Alright.
It was up to him not to listen.
You splash it, and it immediately begins dissolving. There is a loud and rapid succession of cracks. Let's see. 1 second here. Which of these, Mr. Eivor, did you splash?
The fifth one.
Alright, and how close were you when you did it?
Probably right up on it.
Okay. Can you give me a dexterity saving throw, please?
I can.
Alright. The stone explodes in a burst of shrapnel. You take 2 piercing damage as you are punctured by stones. The acid, thankfully, does not, splash out.
Does it hit anybody else?
It does not hit anybody else. And there is a sudden, very loud whine that comes from the ground. Rises to a very foreshadowing pitch, and then suddenly goes silent.
A very loud what?
A foreshadowing pitch. It's
No,
certainly foreshadowing something.
You
And
said
then
a
it
very
goes.
loud something came up out of the ground.
Oh, a whine. A whine.
Oh, okay.
A sound of a wee or something similar. That's what it says in the dictionary if you look it up.
I told you you shouldn't do that.
Slash, can you please give me a charisma saving throw? A shockwave of energy passes through you. It tickles you. You are not harmed.
Can I reach over where the stone was and see if the barrier is still there?
Well, you felt... you only felt something before if you touched it while you were channeling a little bit of magic. If you do that again, you will feel nothing.
Okay, so can I step through them?
Yes, you step through.
Well, it seems I can step on this side, okay? Slash, does it seem different to you at all?
Could nobody cross this line before? I thought it was only Slash.
I don't think anybody said they tried.
Nope. We didn't try until Eivor stepped through with Slash as a pilot.
Yes.
Oh, well then I'll try to step across.
You did Pacific Rim, but with meat. You step across, nothing happens. The old man and the child fall to the ground. Not as the stone is destroyed, but a good 20 seconds after. They are both foaming at the mouth.
In conjunction with anything that we did?
mean, about 20 seconds after the stone was broken, not indirect
Like, it wasn't-
connection. I suppose it was
wasn't-
probably at the moment you, in particular, stepped over the stones. Do you think that
Well,
you just killed these people?
Worm, what have you done?
I'm gonna go back over to them and
Why
check
would Worm
their
do
vitals.
I can't believe Worm would do this.
They are... Yes. Their vital signs have faded. They are both dead. And their bodies are bubbling, boiling, and rotting away before your eyes.
Hey,
God.
Worm, can you check if they have deer in them? Just a thought.
How?
I don't know. You're the medicine-y one here.
Is there anything happening to the knife that she gave me?
No.
Then I'll use that to kind of
What a-
prod in there,
Okay. Like,
looking for deer
in
bits.
in the organs? In the...
I just kind of, exploratory. Children with suspiciously deep voices don't last long, ever.
There is a section of antler inside the heart of each of these people.
Oh,
And then the heart becomes oatmeal. But, like,
The-
not oatmeal, but, the consistency of it.
does the bit of antler remain?
Yes, the bones remain.
I'll point this out to them, but I'm not going to touch it.
Okay.
I mourn the loss of my minion.
The
So-
Bone
so-
Club remains.
Sorry, I was distracted for a moment. You said there was antlers or something?
Yeah, there is a portion of antler inside the heart of each of these people.
That is very suspicious, yes. Slash, is the barrier still there for you?
I guess I'll check. I'm not sure.
You tentatively poke your hand over. You are not zapped.
It doesn't look like it.
Well, I suppose it was what of all. Well, maybe we should have tried the acid sooner, maybe not. Not so sure yet. But either way, we know a priest is inside this building or on top of it or something, and they attacked us, so perhaps we should follow that lead now.
Maybe he dissolved too.
This is also possible.
I like how these two people just dropped dead in front of us and nobody cares.
Well, you did that, did you not? It was the same time that you stepped over the line that I just assumed.
You crossed a line, worm.
It was your minion. I don't know why you would killed your own very fresh minion, but you.
Worm is sad now.
Would you like to retroactively give your minion a name?
I shall call her Penelope.
Rip Penelope.
Wendelorn wants to know if the minion looks tasty.
The minion looks repulsive. Both of the corpses do.
Fair enough.
However, your companions are looking tastier and tastier all the time. They
Does
didn't
the old man-
about half an hour ago.
Does the old man still have that flask on him?
He does, yes.
Ivor will definitely take that.
Alright.
Well, as Ivor is looting his bubbly corpse, Worm is going to perform whatever kind of last rites he tries to remember.
Can you give me a religion roll, worm?
He doesn't remember it well.
No.
I don't understand what the fuss is about. Won't they be back in a little bit? Isn't that what usually happens? It's happened to some of us even.
That is a very fair point. As a matter of fact, the last rites that a worm remembers have to do with going to sleep for a long while and then waking up in a much better place, so that makes sense.
I don't think looking like they are, they're gonna want to come back. But
Well, I mean, I'll point to Wonderlorn. This one, did he not lose his head and it's reattached? Isn't that what happened?
I believe so.
I imagine they won't return looking exactly like this.
bits of slash getting blown off.
This is well.
Perhaps we should remove the antler from them before they reanimate.
That is a very good idea. Yes, I agree with this plan.
So
I'll
what?
use the knife to cut the. Is it just a piece of antler?
It's just a piece of antler, maybe the length of a finger.
I'll see if I can cut them out.
No need to cut. They're just kind of
They get
sitting in a
dissolved
massive
around
goo.
them?
I'm so glad that finger things are so common in this campaign that it has become a unit of measurement.
The mini cubit.
But the size of the fist vary wildly, apparently.
Lovely. The centicubit, that's what we're calling it.
Perfect.
Yeah, so you extract the bones.
Yes.
Nothing
I do
changes.
Not keep the bones. I just remove them.
Okay, you debone the corpses.
God.
A stench comes over you all.
What kind of stench?
Very similar to the stench rising from these two bodies. One of decaying flesh and various bodily gases releasing. You turn Vesper, and you see a wave of yellow fog billowing from the general direction of the big old crowd of people having fun in the middle of the village.
Oh.
You do not see any people.
Oh, Christ.
Anything else we want to do with these this man and your minion, or should we pursue this priest now?
No, I think we should go look at the town.
Well,
Yeah, I think there's an issue over there. That doesn't look right.
Worm is headed that way.
But this man attacked us and he's right here, and he could be the source of it all. Why would we go away from him?
I want to find the priest. I'm worried he's going to keep showing up, shooting fireballs at us.
That's a
Why
very
do we
fair
want
fear.
to approach the noxious-looking gas?
Yes, why not try and solve the problem by the man who is likely the source of it?
Because I think the entire town just dissolved.
Well, then they'll all come back shortly. Let us go kill the man that did that to them.
Me?
Well, I imagine it was the priest. I was pulling your leg earlier. Oh, sorry, Slash.
So the priest was.
That's just insensitive.
So the priest was last up on top of the roof.
Yes,
Can
you
I
see
mis-
where he went from there?
Can I misty step up there?
absolutely. You misty step up. Does it look... what does it look like when you misty step?
Be honest with you, I have no idea. I never thought about it.
Alright. Do you turn into mist and appear there? Do you float up with mist trailing behind you? I suppose you could just kind of vanish and then appear from a cloud of mist.
I imagine he would probably step into a cloud of mist and step out of a cloud of mist up there.
Okay, so you do that. And you see there is a sturdy trapdoor that is closed, and if it is latched or barred, it is done so from the underside.
I'll holler down from the roof there that, this is the case. There's a trap door up there. And lower rope down to them so that they might climb up.
Alright. You
Very
secure
impressive. Thank you much.
You secure the rope to a jutting balustrade. It's sturdy, and it hangs down to the ground.
If possible, I would like to walk toward the town far enough to see what's become of the people,
Alright.
if they're close enough to see.
You approach the slowly disseminating fog, and the stench overcomes you. Can you make me a Constitution saving throw, please? You retch and fall to the ground, vomiting the many tasty things that you have been eating over the course of the day.
It tastes just as good the second time.
Please take 3 trauma damage. You are not significantly poisoned or scalded by acid. It's just really nasty.
Did I see the remnants of any people?
You raise your hand from your head from your own vomit, and you see piles of quivering gelatinous person-shaped lumps scattered around on the ground, brightly dyed pieces of cloth fluttering in a unfortunately not terribly strong breeze. You also see about a half dozen people standing around in horror looking at the people on the ground. They do not seem to be coughing at all, or, otherwise reacting to the smell.
Okay. I'll return to them and tell them what I saw. And I guess climb the rope after them.
Alright.
Yeah, we'll climb the rope as well.
Is everyone climbing the rope? I mean, Mr. Slash can just rise, I suppose. He doesn't need to physically climb it.
I'm just gonna T-pose while I float up.
Fantastic.
Very good.
Do a Superman. Well, you are all at the top. Barbarians rise up indeed. Let the joy of love take you higher. So yeah, you're all gathered around a trapdoor.
Does it appear locked or just firmly shut?
It appears firmly shut. If there is a latch, if there is a lock, it is on the underside.
Establish if Slash can go through inanimate objects.
He can if they are not magically warded.
Can you go through that trapdoor?
Well, I'm gonna try and poke in it, see if it, zaps me first.
It does not zap you. Your hand goes through it.
I will float down and T-pose while I do it.
Fantastic. You descend. There is an unlit small chamber underneath with some stone stairs that lead downward. You see a dim light at the base of the stairs. There is a heavy lock, locking the trapdoor from underneath.
Am I able to move things in the physical world? Like move, if I grab the lock, can I grab it?
You have not tried to interact with the physical world yet, as far as I'm aware. So you don't know.
Try to grab the lock.
Right. It is almost as if you, in the physical world, are trying to grab a cloud of smoke. It passes through your grasp. You feel some sensation, but you can't get a good grip on it.
Okay. So you say the trapdoor is locked?
Yes, with a big old padlock, requiring a big old skeleton key.
Right. Okay. How much can I see in that room?
You can see all the details of the room. It is just a narrow passageway that just leads from whatever floor is down below to the roof.
I guess I don't know if it'll do me any good, but I'll look around and see if I can find a key.
All right, you find no key. There is a dim light coming from the floor down below, though. You could go down that way if you felt like it.
I'll try to pass through another floor.
All right, you pass down, and you find yourself in a well-lit floor. 1 second, I'll do a little bit of unfortunate drawing here. There's the stairs there. There's a little dais here with an altar. There are several piles of human skin kind of neatly coiled on that altar. There's blood everywhere. There are chains and hooks hanging from the ceiling, and there are limbless human bodies without skin hanging from them.
And there's
Like a four of them.
nobody alive.
They are definitely not alive. And you see the priest man who's just kind of standing by one of these bodies. He's got his staff at his feet. He's got his sleeves rolled up. He's got a big old knife in one hand, and he's doing some kind of surgery or something to one of the corpses.
Okay, well, I get out of there as quickly as I can.
All right,
And
and you
right-
saw another staircase leading down below.
Leading to this room or leading
Leading
down?
to whatever floor is below, probably the first floor of the chapel. Oh, and there was a big vat in the middle of the room, well filled with blood.
Okay, well, I'm going to fly back up. And I'm going to tell everyone of the horror that I saw.
Well, I cannot pick the lock from this side, it appears, but I do have more acid. What say you all?
No, was there a stairs leading to the lit room as well?
The lit room was the one you were just in with all the blood. There was a set of stairs leading up to the roof and a set of stairs leading down.
Okay, that's what I thought.
What is the trapdoor made out of?
Thick hardwood. Hinges on the underside.
We could just burn it.
Hallelujah.
That'd probably be loud though, wouldn't it?
I mean, I could probably cast Shatter on it, but that seems like it would be overkill.
We do have some extra oil left over if we want to expedite the burning process. But it could also be used for something else if we do not wish to use it.
Well, I won't be able to help with that, so when are you guys going to figure that out?
Vesper, do you have any way of opening this?
I don't believe so.
Y'all are in quite a pickle.
Well, do we think oil or fire would... sorry, not oil. Do we think acid or fire would be the quickest way to do this?
Probably acid.
So if you want to try fire, I do have that.
Would fire be at risk of spreading to the rest of the building?
The rest of the building, as far as you are aware, is stone.
Oh. Yes, then fire may be good. I'll just take out a flask of oil and start coating the wood with oil so it burns quicker.
Would it be a bad idea if we intentionally burn down the house anyways? I mean, do we really care if we...
Fire away.
I'll fire away.
All right, what are you firing with, Vesper?
My good old firebolt.
Hallelujah. You make me an attack roll, please. You hit. You deal double damage on account of it being old wood that has been well oiled. The thing goes up in flames, and within about a minute, it is hanging off one of the hinges underneath. It certainly didn't, burn all up. There's quite a lot of it to burn, but it seems that it's a structural integrity as it is connected to the down below is compromised.
Well, that seemed to work.
All right. Well, down we go.
Somebody may need to give it a good old smash before you get down below.
There's no sort of response or sound from the man.
No. None that you're aware of.
Can I Eldritch Blast it open?
You can certainly try. You hit. And you do indeed blast it down. There is a clatter of not only big old wooden door, but also some bits of metal hardware that rattles through the passageway up at you as it all falls down the stairs. No one appears.
Down I go.
All right.
I will follow.
All right.
And then I'll go down.
All right. When people come into the room with the bodies and the blood, there is no one in there.
How many ways out of this room are there?
There is the staircase up and the staircase down that you guys can see.
And we've just come down. We've just come from the one.
You have all come from the up. The corpses are still there. There is still blood everywhere. There is a staff lying at the feet of one of the corpses.
The corpses were hanging, you said?
Yes, they just kind of got hooks through their hearts. Big old metal ones.
And none of them look similarly dissolved?
No.
Is there any sign of deer parts?
There is no sign of deer parts.
I'd like to have a look at the staff. Not pick it up. Just
All
look
right.
at it.
Can you give me investigation, please? It is a staff. There is a big old bloody handprint on it. Not like someone decorated it, but like someone had blood on their hands and they grabbed it.
Oh.
There is a bright sigil glowing on the side of it. And there's a tiny little fireball about the size of your pinky nail that is kind of hovering over the tip of the staff.
Does the sigil on it look anything like the images on the stones?
It looks like one of the sigils from down below.
Being what?
It looks like one of the sigils from the stones that was one of the ones that was dissolved with the acid. It does not depict a picture. It might as well be a squiggly line to you.
I want to try to pick it up.
Alright. It explodes in your hands. Can you give me a dexterity saving throw, please? Oof.
Damn.
You take 9 fire damage as it explodes in a ball of fire, roasting the meat of the corpse in front of you, and your own meat as well.
Is there anything left of it?
Of the staff or the corpse? Of the staff, there is only splintered bits of wood on the ground that are no longer glowing or fireballing. The corpse is essentially still intact as it was.
That was the staff one to learn was
Gotcha.
curious about.
I should have figured. If you would like to examine the bits of the staff, they have interesting carvings on the side. Sort of Celtic knot-looking things.
He certainly would.
All
I
right.
would like to make sure I make a mental note of what the sigil looked like.
Okay.
While people are doing this, Ivor would like to just keep his head in the swivel, kind of looking around for anything that might be approaching us or anything like that. See if there's anything hiding in here or trying to come into here while they're working.
Okay. Can he please give me a perception roll? And that's what the sigil looks like this year.
That's a mess.
Indeed. Hey, Ivor, you hear some kind of a scuffling from down below, and what sounds like a honk.
A honk,
A honk.
like a goose honk or like a horn honk.
More like a goose honk.
Okay. I'll just go over to the edge. It's
Yes.
Is there
I'm
any
gonna stand
door
by the
above
edge here.
us?
You see no other door.
I'll just whisper to the others. I think they are down below here, or something is at least. Just let me know when you guys are ready, and we'll go down. I don't think it's safe to go down alone at this point. I'm hoping they do not have another exit.
A bubble pops in the surface of the vat of blood.
There's a vat of blood.
There's a vat of blood in the middle of the room, yes.
I missed
Worm
that.
is standing with his back to it.
I'd like to step away from that.
That's a good idea. You do so.
Would anybody like
There are
to check
spiders
out
in
the
that corner.
bubbling vat of How's that?
That's pretty safe.
Would anybody like to check out the bubbling vat of blood?
That seems like something Wendellorn would poke around in.
Okay. Can Wendellorn please give me investigation and describe to me how you are investigating the vat of blood?
He's going to take his crowbar and just kind of stir it around and poke at it. And
All right. He is stirring some solid bits of things in the bottom of the vat. He does not think that he is stirring anything large, like, missing limbs.
is he able to pull any of one of the pieces up to the surface with the crowbar?
Yes, it takes some finesse. It takes a little bit of doing, but you pull up looks like a chunk of antler from the bottom of the vat, about the size of your finger.
Well, he will show that to everybody, and then kind of wipe it off on his clothes and stick it in a pouch.
Congratulations, you have antler.
Despite saying that he was going to wait for everybody, Ivor's now going to start tiptoeing down the stairs.
Okay. Can you give me a stealth roll, please? You feel pretty sneaky.
Do the stairs rotate at some point and they're multiple flights, or is it just directly down?
Yeah, it rotates down.
Okay, I'd like to get to the edge and just try and kind of peek around and see if I can see anything down the next flight.
Okay. There is no light at all from the next floor.
I do have dark vision.
Yes. Give me one moment. There's the flight down. That's where you are. There's the double doors at the ground level. There's a bunch of pews. And there is another, about identical dais here. This one just has a pulpit instead of an altar. There are a bunch of unlit chandeliers hanging from the ceiling. And there are a whole lot of skinless, human-limbed deers squatting around and making little chattering, muttering noises to each other. There is a priest man covered in blood who is standing at the forefront of all of them and talking sternly to one skinless deer who has bedraggled, rotting human skin hanging off it, who you think looks vaguely similar to the woman you've been following.
That's what I was about to ask. Thank you. Okay. At that point, I won't risk peeking any farther, and I'll head back upstairs.
All right.
Okay, big problem. There are lots of them downstairs. There's very many. I definitely saw the old woman, and the priest appears to be one of them. There's tons of them. It's bad.
How many?
Probably half dozen.
Oh, I got the impression there were more than that.
About a half a dozen.
There could have been several of them in a trench coat.
This is true. Still, more than expected. They're having some kind of meeting. I didn't hear what they were saying, or at least I didn't understand it. But they were, one of them was talking to the old woman, or they're pretending to be the old woman.
Did the priest look like a deer creature, or did he look human?
They all looked like deer creatures, right?
The priest looked human to you.
Oh, he looked human to me. Okay.
Is there any way to seal them inside and just blow up the buildings?
I like your thinking. I hope we find a way to do that, but I am not aware of one.
They don't seem to know we're here, do they?
They...
Either that or they don't seem to care.
One or both.
Well, they cared an awful lot before. So they probably don't know we're here.
Vesper, can you give me a perception roll, please? And Wendell learned too. You guys are the closest to the stairs. You both hear somebody coming down the stairs, leading from the roof.
Perhaps we should not have left the rope.
A person appears. They are wearing festive robes. They look frightened. It's a grown man, maybe in his 40s.
Being in this room isn't going to do much for his nerves.
Yeah, he looks around in what appears to be utter terror, stammering and muttering. What did you do? He has sludge covering his hands and his forearms.
We didn't do this.
So has Ivor come back upstairs?
He has, yes. And he sees this person.
I'm going to make a motion to him to be quiet.
He glances over his shoulder at the stairs.
A motion to Evo or a motion to the man that just entered?
The man that just entered.
He does not immediately flee.
Excuse me, sir. we are we came in here because we are chasing a great evil that we think has overtaken some members of this town, and we are on your side. We are trying to root this out.
Everybody is dead. Everyone just fell over and died.
We believe that to be the fault of the people on the floor below us, which is why we need you to be very quiet.
Who are they? Who are you?
We are outsiders who have just arrived, but we believe... Have you ever seen a deer person before? A deer with human limbs, skinless?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, I have. Everybody said I was utterly insane. But yes, I have. They watch people from the edges of the village. I've only been here for 2 years. I don't know.
Can I do a check on this guy?
An insight? You're trying to see if
Right,
he's
yeah.
telling the truth? Yeah, please give me an insight.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks fairly scared to you. He could be lying, I guess.
Believe you. I have seen them as well, but I think it is even worse than just watching from the outside of town. I believe they are taking the skin of killed members of your town and wearing their skin in order to pass themselves off as members of your town. And thus have infiltrated your society.
That'll calm him down.
Yes.
He kind of just crouches down at the base of the stairs.
So, do you understand why you need to be very quiet right now, yes?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything suspicious about the priest of this town that you have noticed?
I don't know. I don't know what faith he represents. I sort of just got the impression he was a kind of a priest of a local religion, perhaps of the gods of the village. I've never really had much interaction with him. As I've said, I've only been here 2 years.
I see.
I always heard this was the place you could go and talk with people who've passed on. It's something I was searching for a long time, and a person I trusted quite a lot told me for certain this was where it could be done, but it's only been one very strange thing after another. And all this time it was... Oh, but all those people down below who died, they weren't deer. They didn't have deer parts, not like the ones that I've seen.
No. I believe that all of the deer in the town are currently congregating below us, or at least a significant number of them. There are half a dozen or so. I believe the priest is in on it because he has been talking with them. I do not know if he is just wearing the priest's skin or if the priest is human and working with them. But something is going on.
So what are you going to do about it?
Well, right now we were in the midst of about to discuss this when you walked in.
Worm has plan.
Worm plan.
We would like to kill all the deer in some way or another. We just not certain how yet.
How big is the room down there?
It is identical in dimensions to the one you're currently in. Which is
drawn to scale.
Which is drawn more or less to scale. Say 35 by 25 feet.
Which is not at all what you drew.
It's rough. It's roughly enough, Leah.
Okay, thank you.
So the staircase down, that's completely open, right? It's an open staircase.
Correct.
How big is the opening in the floor to allow for the staircase?
Enough for one person to narrowly pass through.
We need to block this up, go outside, block the door up, and then roast them inside it.
Aren't there other doors down in that lower chamber?
Are there?
Mr. Ivor saw the doors leading out, and he saw the staircase up. He saw nothing else.
Are there windows?
There are windows, small windows with closely set iron bars in them. A person is not getting through the windows.
But
A snake, perhaps.
We could shoot them through the windows. Like, shoot fireballs in there.
Perhaps.
I'm telling them that.
If you had a ladder.
Need a ladder?
I mean, the windows are not like at head height. They're each of the floors rises up maybe 20 feet, and the windows are set pretty high, very near the ceiling. They let light delicately and gloriously stream in from above. Assuming there's not a wave of nasty fog in the middle of the night, because there's not much sunlight going on there.
Well, does anybody think that the idea of trapping them in there and killing them has any merit?
How are you going to trap them?
Well, we'd have to find a way to block the stairs and lock the door from the outside.
Well, if you all, or at least some of us, went outside to the door, I could creep down the cast and cast Shatter at them, which would take out a good chunk of the room and inflict a whole bunch of damage on them all at once. And at least weaken them before we start fighting.
The man seems confused by this terminology.
And we would be outside?
You know, we could put some people outside the door in case people tried to go out that way, and some of us could be inside on the stairs in case they tried to come up the stairs.
I'd like to see if we can disable one of those forms of escape. At least.
Well, what if you went out to secure the door from the outside and then knocked on the door as a signal that you had it secured?
What are the stairs made of?
Stone.
Oh. So we could not just destroy the stairs.
Could maybe shatter them.
Is that strong enough?
I don't know, probably not. They're old stairs. They're very old. You might make the stairs sharp at least. Little bits of stair hanging out.
But I was trying to think of a way that we could trap them inside and then attack them from the outside.
Does anybody? I was about to ask the same thing.
The man turns around and appears to be trying to sneak back up the stairs.
I don't make any motion to stop him.
Excuse me, sir, where are you going? If you wish to leave, you may simply ask. We do not wish you any harm, but we need to make sure you are not going to warn those below.
Why would I warn them?
Can I insight check that?
Yes, you may press X to doubt.
Great.
Well, that is a good question. Why on earth would he warn them? And you examine his
because he may be a deer as well.
Yes, of course, yes. You look carefully at his skin. It does not seem to be hanging off of his body as the old woman's was. His skin seems to fit him fairly well, although hers didn't necessarily show any signs of not being rightness initially. He does seem to have some kind of extreme discomfort in his eyes, if nothing else.
It's a very uncomfortable room.
It is a pretty uncomfortable room, no matter who you are. Unless you're the priest, I guess.
Very well. You may wish to get far away from here in case anything else happens. I wish you luck.
He leaves. You hear a muffled thump a moment later. And that is where we were going to end for tonight.
Alright.
Alrighty.
Maybe we could stretch ropes across the stairs.
Could trip him. Could shove
No, like
him.
a lot of ropes.
A lot of ropes. And let's just hope these
Wall of
deer don't have
ropes.
scissors.
Are they likely to?
Eh. Maybe they need scissors for deboning their victims. And it just so happens they work well for rope also. You
I
know.
just opened Discord back up and now I have questions.
Oh no.
Like,
Did you miss a portion of our just recent session? Which was mostly just conjecturing about how best to trap a bunch of deer in a chapel and trying to decide if the guy who had appeared is in fact a deer or not. Well, in any event, we are
I'm just
ending.
wondering why you're drinking it like that.
The air, the water.
Yeah.
Yes, troubling. Indeed. All right. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for playing.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you, Taylor.
You're welcome. See you all.